They did it for DIY Network.
Well.
Yeah, they built the whole fucking. Oh no, you're thinking about the house when we redid the house.
No, you like would give reports on like this getting built and shit.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah. We did. They did this for DIY Networks.
Oh, okay.
For the TV show Man Cave. It's the greatest thing that ever happened to me in my entire life.
Oh, that's great.
That's better than the birth of my second daughter.
Hey man, I appreciate the honesty. Specifically the second daughter.
Dude,
First daughter, no.
Dude, I don't remember anything about my second daughter being born.
Oh, for real?
I don't remember. I remember the only thing I really have a valid memory of is her crying the first night we had her. The first night we had her, it was a pretty easy birth, my wife says. And then we woke up in the middle of the night, she cried, and all I thought was, why the fuck did I do this again?
Hilarious.
Do you think you'll ever have kids?
Do I think I'll ever have kids? Nah.
No?
Nah, I want to help kids, but when I help them, I don't want to be near them. I don't want them to say I touched them. I want to hand the money to somebody, to an organization, and they take care of everything.
Dude, can I tell you that feeling of going, I don't want to be near them because of the fear of them saying something?
Yeah.
That's a valid, you know, sometimes I respect dads who open up. Like I was saying to someone, yeah, my daughter's 15, and he goes, oh man, that's tough. I hope I'm not fucking this guy up, but I don't remember who. I don't remember who it was right now, but he goes, that's tough. My daughter's 18 and all her friends are so fucking hot.
Yeah, it's honest. Yeah.
And I was like, my daughter's friends are all still little girls a little bit, but I don't know if that would ever come out of my mouth.
Right.
For fear of like the way this world works, of someone taking that out of context.
Yeah, exactly. So I just don't want to be near him because I remember this story in Long Island. These, what did they have? They had a daycare. Center, and they were the Rosenfels or some shit.
I remember this.
And it was huge, and everybody was like, "Man, these people did this thing." And it was just they spent like, and going to jail for that is like the worst thing.
And wasn't it a case of cops putting the memories into the kid's head?
Yes, exactly.
That's so fucked up.
The whole family went down. It was bananas, and then it came out. Maybe like they did at least 10 years or something. I think it was a documentary about it, but I was like, you know what? Nothing. I don't
see. But I think also I think there's a weirdness of being white where when an injustice happens to you, you're shocked.
Right.
You're like,
yeah, to that added to it, yeah.
You're like, shut up. Like, and I think black men see injustice and go, oh yeah, that shit happens.
Right. But there's still shock. You
really?
know? Yeah, because I was still shocked about that because you're like, listen, here's the shock. If they'll get a white person, you know if they didn't give a fuck about white people, you know they really didn't give a fuck about niggas. It's like, shit, this is worse than I thought.
I remember my teacher in college. I got written up in Rolling Stone magazine my senior year in college, right? Yeah, they called me the #1 party animal in the country. Oliver Stone optioned the rights to my life. I got offered like a book deal. All this crazy shit kind of happened to me. And I kind of stopped going to class a little bit. You know, the last month I kind of just phoned it in. But it's, you know, I was also graduating. And there was a creative writing teacher who failed me. And I went to the admissions office. And it was like, by the way, I had turned all the stuff in. It's just, was it great? I don't know. But it's like.
But you already won. You went to college and you got a movie and a story, a write-up. You graduate this person. They won.
And they said, oh, don't worry, this happens sometimes. Just go to the teacher, talk to the teacher, tell them, you know, the situation that you are graduating. He probably just didn't know you were graduating. And I was like, in my head, I thought he knew I was graduating. And then I went to the teacher. I went to this little cubicle he had. I wrote about this in my book. And I go, you gave me an F, and I just want to know if there's anything I can do to kind of up that grade because I'm moving to New York. And he goes, oh, I'm not passing you at all. You can go fuck yourself. And I was like, excuse me? He was like, you're famous now. Like, he acted like a child. And shit. I remember
that motherfucker was petty.
And I remember going like, this can't be happening. This can't be real. like like I have a cop pull me over and harass me.
Uh-huh.
And I was so amazed because I'd never had that interaction.
Welcome.
I know, but it's so crazy.
Uh-huh.
But wait, you were born in Jamaica?
I was born in England.
You're born in England?
Yeah.
I always thought you were Jamaican.
I am.
Oh,
I'm,
yeah.
I'm like both. Yeah.
So your mom's Jamaican?
Yeah. And then they moved to Jamaica, ran into each other. They knew each other in Jamaica, but ran into each other in England. And they just both happened to have moved there, had us. We lived there
How
till
many?
I was 9. 4 of us.
4?
Yeah,
Dude,
2 boys, 2 girls.
Can I tell you, I always thought you were a
What?
single child raised by your
word?
mom alone.
For real, why?
There's something about you where you're because you're kind of you're not like you're kind of like you're the guy in a writer's room who doesn't talk all the time, but when you talk, what you say is funny.
Right,
Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
Segura's like that, like just kind of a quieter. Like I'm allowed. Like people see me like, "What were you raised with 9 boys?" I go, "No, 2 sisters."
2 sisters.
But yeah, I always thought you were.
That's
I always.
hilarious.
So wait, so when did you come to?
Glad to destroy that myth today.
God, when did you come to the States?
When I was like 17. Like from Jamaica, yeah.
Holy shit!
Plopped down in Long Island, in New York. Yeah.
So wait, you came to from England
To Jamaica.
to Jamaica,
Yeah.
and then moved to New York.
Yeah. Jamaica from 9 to 17.
What's Jamaica like?
It's what you said.
Because I've been. I'll be very honest.
Right.
It's a little terrifying.
Oh yeah, why?
I
Normally white people, when they go to Jamaica, they don't find it terrifying because they're in the nice part.
I didn't go to the nice part.
Where'd you go?
I went to a place called Blue Irie Hole. It's not in like any of the big popular places where white people go.
Right.
We went to this place called the Jamaican Inn, which is beautiful, beautiful. But then we went to a bunch of local spots. So we go to this one place where they have this hole that purifies you, and these guys take us up there, and it's up like a fucking dirt road, potholes, mud potholes everywhere, chickens running across, stray dogs.
Good Jamaican road.
Yeah. Kids in just a diaper walking barefoot. Litter everywhere, and we get up there, and it turns out there's like 9 guys, and all of them are kind of jockeying for the right to be the one to deal with the tourists,
Right.
and it turns into a fight where one guy beats another guy with a rock, and we're just standing there watching it.
So did he win?
Oh,
Did
the guy
he
that got
get
hit with a rock, game over.
So then you have to hand yourself over to deal with this guy that just beat the guy
That beat
to
us
death
up
in front
and
of.
now became our tour guide. And he took us into this fucking hole.
I don't want to go with you. You just killed a man in front of me.
I was like, dude, whatever you want to do, we're on. We were so scared. I've had that instance happen to me in Africa.
Oh, right.
In Africa, spent the night in a shanty town in South Africa.
Why?
It was part of the Travel Channel. Wanted to be off the grid,
okay.
off the beaten path, and we woke up. I'm having coffee outside the place I slept. I had 2 huge mistakes. One, I bought 100 soccer balls for the kids in the village.
That makes sense.
Maybe not 100. That's probably an overstatement. Maybe 20 soccer balls.
Right.
Enough to fill up the back of a pickup truck. Drove them in, pulled them out, and the fucking coach lost his fucking shit on me. And he goes, "You're out of your fucking mind. You're going to get these kids killed. Walking through a shanty town with a brand new soccer ball."
Oh, okay.
And I was like, "Ooh."
Right.
And then the other one, I woke up, I was having coffee outside the shanty town, and they're chasing this guy down the street with a machete. And I said, "What happened?" And our guide goes, "Oh, he stole a pillow. Don't worry, they'll catch him and necklace him." I go, "What's that?" And they go, "It's prison, street justice. Put a tie around his neck and light him on fire."
Well, in Jamaica, right? If you steal something, when I was growing up, the whole town would chase you and catch you and beat you till the police came. And when the police come, they would beat you. So, like, there's no racist police brutality. It's just don't get caught stealing, or that's what time it is.
Shut the fuck up.
Like, I remember we used to have a sports day in high school, in elementary school. So we had a sports day. Every school had 4 houses, and when you get to the school, they put you in a house. It's a figurative house, you know? and then you'd have house meetings. So then they'd have a sports day, so each house would compete against each house. So that was sports day. So one sports day, the whole school was just down by the track and field all day, and somebody was like robbing or breaking into the classes and stealing shit. So I went home for lunch. When I come back, I see kids trotting back into the school. I'm like, what's going on? They're like, they caught them, the guys that were stealing. And when I go into the schoolyard, the guys are in the back of the pickup police truck, and the cops are like, with the batons. And this is after everybody else caught them.
Yeah.
And that's just life.
So wait, okay, so I apologize because I'm very white privileged. Okay, so like everything I see in life is always skewed through my fucking rose-colored glasses.
Right.
So like, what?
And everybody's black.
In rose-colored glasses?
No, I'm saying that's funny. Everybody's in the beatings, police brutality.
Oh yeah. I was like,
black.
wait,
yeah.
do you think I see everyone as black people?
No. No, not you.
So raised in England, and what was life like there? Was it like?
It's like,
what did your dad do? What did your mom do?
My father was like a kind of engineer, electrician type of guy.
Yeah.
He used to work for the phone company and work on like telephone poles and shit like that. And my mother at the time was like some keyboard operator there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so what was life like in England? Did you guys have like a big apartment?
No, we had a house that I thought was bigger until I went back there and realized, oh, this is a small ass house. But it was
I want to talk to you about you going, because there's other stories I'd heard about you.
Yeah, bring them up.
And so, okay, so life is like pretty regular, and then
it's regular, yeah. Like
guys,
it's more
middle
like
class.
It is in America. Is that no? We were not rich at all. It's just fine.
Yeah,
it's just fine. Yeah.
And so then when your whole family moves back to Jamaica,
whole family,
and then does life change, or do you go? Are you same social level?
Well,
or are you richer? Or
we're considered rich because I had 2 pairs of shoes.
Really?
One for school and one to wear after school. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was kind of like balling. You know what I'm saying? Like when I was in Jamaica, when I was in England, parents said we're moving back to Jamaica. And we're kids in England and shit. And one day our parents were out and we were reading the Jamaican newspaper, right? And there was a story in the paper about these robbers who robbed this house at nighttime when everybody was in the house, and they kind of like burned down the house with the people in it so they could come out, and they surrounded, they had machetes and shit. And me and my brothers and sisters looking at each other like, we're going there? Like, oh shit.
This is horrible marketing.
Yeah, there was no stories like, this shit happened in England. I mean, you know what, to be honest, IRA was blowing shit up in England back then.
Yeah.
But it just wasn't.
What year is this?
I can't remember exactly.
80s?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But it's like everything is painted different when the terrorists are white. So you just IRS. I think the IRA stopped terrorism when the Muslims got into it, and they said we don't want to look like them. That actually kind of helped things.
That looks hilarious.
That looks savage. Motherfuckers, you were doing this. You blew up town centers and shit like that.
So you go back to.
But when we moved, go ahead.
When you go back to Jamaica, because this is my only thing is like in the way I'm trying to envision it.
Right.
It's like when I'd go to Philadelphia every summer, but I can't imagine if moving back to Philadelphia where all my family is from.
Right.
Like when you go back, you see your cousins and you kind of compare notes of what your lives were like. When you go back to Jamaica, are you surrounded around family? Yeah,
there's family there. Like last time I went back to Jamaica, it was like a family reunion. So they got there before me. They went to the towns that we were from. But I just met them at the resort because there was it was like my
This is recent?
Yeah, it was like 3-4 years ago.
Okay.
So my grandfather and my grandmother had died maybe a few decades ago, but they had just a memorial thing. But I just said, I'll meet you at the resort. I'll come when you guys go to the resort. And I met my you know, mostly my English Jamaican family at the resort and some of my Jamaican family.
So what about when you moved back to Jamaica as a kid? Did you have like cousins and stuff?
Well, I didn't move back to Jamaica. That was my first time going there. Was when I moved there.
Oh no, but when you moved there to Jamaica,
I had cousins. Yeah,
you had cousins
that were born.
You never even met them.
I never even met them.
Shut up.
But I knew about them.
And you got a great British accent.
I had one.
And then, but did you have to morph it into a Jamaican accent?
Yeah, I did that. Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
I was 9. It was easy. It was early, you know.
What about your brothers and sisters?
But everybody still knew I was goddamn English. My nickname was English in Jamaica. I'm like, how do these motherfuckers know? Like years later. What up, English?
Tally ho, mate.
I guess I should have stopped saying tally ho, mate. Yeah.
So all your cousins and stuff were like, we just saw you and you had 2 pairs of shoes and they're like, oh.
Yeah, they were barefoot most of the time.
Really?
Yeah, because we moved into, and Jamaica was lovely, to be honest. Like it was a perfect time.
Jamaica's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Can I tell you a business proposition I have for Jamaica?
All right, let me hear.
One of the fucking, those recycling machines. The recycling machines they have, where people take their recycling and get money back. Dude, if you did that, you clean up Jamaica quickly.
Oh, because when you saw all that trash and stuff there?
So much trash. The two dirtiest places I've ever been in my life. And by the way, I'm telling you, I'm talking off the resorts.
Yeah.
Jamaica and Vietnam.
Jamaica and Vietnam.
Vietnam was so. And by the way, I was just in Bali. Bali's got a ton of garbage.
Right.
It's just like a thing with, like, in Jamaica, and I want to say maybe not in Jamaica as much as Vietnam. Vietnam, all I remember is everyone burning their trash.
Oh yeah,
and
we used to burn our trash.
Yeah,
but like there was a lot of parts of it that's like I don't remember a lot of trash when I was growing up there.
Well, you're talking to a 43-year-old man at the time, probably coming in total culture shock, imagining Jamaica to be one thing, seeing it as another, and going like there is literally. And like I said, we were not in where everyone goes.
Just go to the parts that were advertised. Don't step out of the commercial.
Don't step out of the commercial.
No, well, you can. There's fun to be had outside of the commercial, but yeah, you're gonna see some shit that ain't in the commercial. How about that,
dude? That's like that with traveling. We went on a sailboat in the British Virgin Islands when I was 18. My sisters were like probably 8 and 16, and I remember his boat full of like local Caribbean, like British Islands dudes, black dudes, came up and they were just diving for like conch or whatever, diving for stuff, and they were totally naked, and they were like, "This is what happens when you get off the resorts, guys." And my sisters were like, snorkels, just you could hear them in the circle. First dick my little sister Cotty ever saw, 8 years old, was a fucking seahorse. It was such a big dick.
It's hilarious. She's been disappointed ever since.
So I'm fucking fascinated by that move back to Jamaica. So what was like? You lost your virginity in Jamaica?
Nah, I lost that in New York.
Really?
Yeah.
What was it? Was it hard talking to Jamaican girls?
It wasn't hard. It's just like the way sex was seen back then. And it's like if you were having sex, you're like a G. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a guy. But also, there was no condoms back then, so you could get somebody pregnant the first time. You just put the tip in. You know what I mean? So it's like. I remember I had an opportunity to have sex with this one girl back then, and I didn't do it. And I'm like, if I did, I'd definitely be a dad.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. I'd definitely been a dad. Because there's no store you could walk to and buy condoms back then. And you can't tell your parents. It's a religious country, ain't supposed to be doing that. Like, it's a taboo if you're like not married and had a kid back then. You know, your career, your life is over.
Did you smoke weed in Jamaica?
Maybe 3 times. It didn't take.
What do you mean?
Like the older guys would give me some that I played soccer with, and I was just like, I don't feel nothing.
Yeah,
nothing's happening here. I'm like, I'm good.
So, but you were always really passionate about soccer, right? You still are. Don't you have a podcast about soccer?
I got a soccer podcast.
Yeah, soccer podcast.
Soccer comic rant. Yeah.
What is it that you like about soccer?
Tell me something you like.
What I like about soccer?
No, tell me something you just have a passion about.
Fucking all it's sad. Everything draws back to comedy. I like watching golf.
You like watching golf?
I like watching golf.
Right.
I like watching golf because I play. But I like watching golf because I can get behind one guy and I can track them all day. I don't need to be in front of the TV. I can bounce back and forth. And for my brain, jumping from player to player to player to player to player, and always going back, always root for Tiger. So always going back to Tiger, just kind of. And my dad and I watch it together. My dad will call me, like when Tiger was winning this last one, I was sitting in the pool, watching my TV outside. I had weights. I was doing, my phone on speaker. I was doing shoulder presses in the pool and talking to my dad. But like soccer, what I love about soccer is that there's no commercials.
Right, no commercials.
But what I get lost in, maybe it's because I don't know the game.
You watch American football?
Yeah.
Like, so are you going to say something about the scoring is low?
No.
Or you get lost in what?
No, it just seems like. Do you ever have a dream where you're running you're running late to class but you can't find your pants? That's what I feel like watching soccer is like.
Oh, for real? I mean, but every time they find their pants, go!
Yeah, it is pretty.
You know what I'm saying? It's exciting when you find your pants.
Can you watch any soccer game?
No, not any soccer game.
You can only watch the teams you like.
No, I watch the Premiership, which has my favorite team in there, Manchester United. I watch some La Liga games like with Barcelona and Real Madrid. You know, Real Madrid used to have Ronaldo, but I've always been a fan of Real Madrid. Maybe I can't remember now if it was since Ronaldo left Manchester United and went there, but they're my favorite team in La Liga, so I watch them. I watch just any team with good players on it. Like I want to see the skill, I want to see the technique.
Yeah,
you know, I just want to be entertained by the way they play.
When you see someone who really knows how to play, me and my buddy Croy one time were at Pan Pacific Park, and there were these like 4 kind of roly-poly, chubby Mexican guys, and they're just like kicking a soccer ball around, and they're kind of playing 2-on-2. And they looked at us and were like, "You guys want to play?" And I was like, "Croy doesn't light these motherfuckers up." I was like, "It's soccer. How hard can this be?" Because we all played a little bit growing up, but no one played competitively.
Right.
These motherfuckers. It was like watching Jordan play with fucking Stephen Hawkins. It was so bad. They were so good at just ball control.
Right.
And when you watch someone who can take a foot and kind of drag it over the ball, it really is gorgeous.
Yeah, it's like magic, foot magic.
So you can
sleight of foot magic.
So yours kind of like, I mean, that's silly that I would not assume that I would go, so do you have a favorite team? Yeah, like so you get passionate about watching your teams play.
Yeah, for sure. And then you know people that root for other teams, and then you get into shit talking competitions with them. So it's like, like Martin Harris, he sometimes does a podcast. He's a Spurs fan.
Is that the
Polish?
Who's Adam Richman? You know Adam Richman from Man vs. Food?
From
Tottenham.
Where? Adam Richman.
Remember not the comedian. Remember the TV show Man vs. Food?
Yeah, but I never watched it.
He's a Tottenham
Hotspurs. Yeah, it's the same team. Yeah,
he loves those. He loves those guys. He goes over and watches games.
Oh yeah.
And you know what? He never even played soccer growing up. I could be wrong about this. But I'm not wrong about this. Do you know how he got into that team?
How?
Fucking FIFA on his fucking.
Bobby's an Arsenal fan, and that's how he got into Arsenal. He played Bobby Lee.
Bobby Lee's an Arsenal fan, and he got into it through playing the fucking
FIFA,
game.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, and he's been an Arsenal fan over like 15 years now. And we talk Premiership all the time.
Really?
Bobby Lee, yeah. He came on my podcast. He was a guest because he knew what he was talking about.
I see. I had a little thing where I was trying to get into new things. Maybe I'll try to get into soccer.
Well, listen, do you want to go to a LAFC game on the 10th of July?
I don't even know what that is.
LAFC is the new Los Angeles MLS. MLS is the American League. So LAFC is the team, and it's downtown by UFC.
Oh, I know, right by I've seen that stadium.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful stadium.
Yeah. I'm trying to get some comics because I have a friend there that works like in
I'm in Alabama.
Alabama. Oh shit.
Fuck. I want to go. Can we do another day?
Yeah, we can do another day.
Yeah. Let's organize a big group. We'll get Burr to go.
Yeah, because Burr needs to come too because he's been getting into Liverpool, which is another Premiership team.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm gonna try to get Rogan to go. I talked to him today about it too.
Really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'll hit up Tom too. See if him and Kivskina want to.
Yeah, that would be great. I would love that. I would absolutely love that.
Dope.
Yeah, I want to get into. I went through a period where I tried to get into NASCAR.
Mm-hmm. How'd that go?
NASCAR is like NASCAR. Okay, being in a NASCAR is like being into cream pie porns. You're just supposed to watch the end.
All right. Right. You want to see the cream pie.
Is anyone gonna fucking comment on how beautiful that fucking? Because the end of a NASCAR race is the only part you watch. Right. And in my opinion, you watch the end where you're like, he's gonna, but
to see if the person finally passes the person.
Yeah.
I mean, I would watch it for crashes.
Yeah,
crashes used to excite me.
I went to Talladega. Mm-hmm. That was pretty fucking amazing.
Oh, word.
That was an amazing experience. We were on the infield. It's for Travel Channel. We were on the infield. We did a pace lap, and with like a fucking 80-year-old NASCAR driver, like some guy who's just wet, and he did it at maybe. I know I exaggerate numbers because I think in grandiose terms. I speak in hyperbole. I am told. But like hilarious. 160 miles an hour, like in the pit, he went so fucking fast and like inches from the wall.
Damn.
But yeah, I want to get into more shit.
That's a bad Uber. I'm like, let me out, bro.
Dude, the worst is he stops where at the most tilted, he just stops the car and you feel like you're gonna flip over. And
Jesus.
but that's really crazy. So wait, did you finish high school in Jamaica?
Yeah. But then there's like I finished, and then you could stay 2 more years in any high school to get your A levels, your O levels, and then your A levels. To get your A levels. It's been a while, so I forgot. So then you can do that, and then you go to university. So I'd finished the first part, and then I went back. When I moved to New York, I like kind of finished like American high school there in New York, Uniondale High School.
Did your whole family move with you to New York?
Mm-hmm.
What was the cause of that?
Just better opportunities, the American dream and all that. Like shit was starting to slow down in Jamaica, and then it was kind of at the time they was kind of having like a political kind of a war type, not like an official war, but it's election time. Shit gets rough. People, there's guns and shit like that. It was just time to be out.
And so did you ever have like a moment? I don't know what's wrong with my fucking brain, but these are the things that excite me. Do you ever have a moment where you guys, whole family moves to New York? Mm-hmm. It's like your first couple days, and then the whole family sits and have dinner, and you're like, "What the fuck? This place is not like Jamaica."
I mean, I just know, like, being in Jamaica, it's fun. You have your friends, you have your family there. Everything is there. But I did want to come here to get more opportunities. But I just remember, so my mother was here. Then she brought my older brother, older sister, and my father. They went first. Me and my younger sister stayed behind, and for like just so I can finish high school.
Yeah.
Right. And so my sister could finish it too. I think she finished it. So then we moved, and I just remember we came in the wintertime, and you think you have on your thickest Jamaican pants, which is just probably thinner than this.
Yeah.
Because Jamaica's so hot, and they opened the airport door, and the wind blew, and it just went right through every individual cell in my body.
Yeah.
And I wanted to shut the door and get back on the plane. Like, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? It wasn't even snowing out. It was just fucking freezing.
I know that feeling when you get off a plane in one place and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
God.
I remember one day, this is the only breakdown I ever had. I was like 17 or maybe 18. It was wintertime. Me and my sister was going to school, and it was just banks of snow, and it was snowing. And I'm like, and my sister was with me and following me to school. And I was like, I just turned around. I was like, I'm not going. And I just started walking back, and she started following me. I was like, don't follow me, go to school. I'm not going to school. And she just followed me home like like a puppy. Like, you're gonna get in trouble. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing all this. I'm going. We just followed me. And we just went back home.
Oh.
And I think it was a snow day anyway. We just didn't know.
Yeah.
But it was just like,
it's just you're walking in a blizzard. And you're like, fuck this.
Fuck this. This is what houses were built for you to stay inside of them.
Did your parents have just a very resilient personalities where they're like, and then did you consider yourself an American kid at all?
No, that took a while. But then also back then, I would ask black people if they felt American, and they said no. I don't think black people started really feeling American until Obama got elected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So
yeah,
that helped. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Did you have a hard time fitting in high school? There were Jamaican kids there.
There was 5 of us.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Man,
I always look
10.
at I look at New York now and I feel like there's so many more Jamaicans.
There's a lot. But there's been so much time for them to get there. But there was a lot of Jamaican people there, like in New York, period. But my high school, we were the Jamaicans, and the other Black Americans were the Yankees. So sometimes we'd have fights and shit like that.
Really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do you identify as you're not African American, are you?
I just say, listen, I've been here a while. I'm Jamaican, I'm English, I'm African, I'm everything, man.
Yeah, but I always look at that and go like, I remember one time calling someone African American in Miami, and guys like, I'm Haitian.
Yeah, but I don't even, the term, when I remember the day it came on the news that they were going to start calling us African American now. And I'm like, who was fighting for this? There's a lot more shit that I wanted before this.
Yeah.
And then when somebody says African American, it just sounds like you're going out of your way to not say nigger. It's just such a longer route. I'm like, who needs that?
I grew up in the South when people said that.
Right.
I mean, I definitely it's so crazy to think that like what was a casual word that you would hear.
Right.
Like, not even joking. The first time I ever heard that word, I was in first grade, and a group of black kids had come in our neighborhood and stolen my football. And then they came back into our neighborhood like a week later.
They were like, they looked at Bert and said, he's not using it.
Yeah. It was a Duke football that I had scraped out all the lady we played in the street. And so the laces were scraped out. My dad had relaced it with a shoelace.
Oh, damn.
So they came back with the shoelace. My football was a shoelace. 2 redneck brothers that were older than me. They were in like 6th grade, 5th grade,
Your
7th
brothers?
grade. No. No, I have 2 sisters.
Right.
I think their names were Daryl and Darren. And they were like, that's his football. And they're like, no. And they're like, Bert, fight him. And I was in 1st grade. I was like, no. And then they're like, we'll fight him for you. And so then one of the brothers fought a brother, and they fought, and the dad came out, and the dad started chanting, fight, and we're in a white don't win, we all jump in. It hit me. He said, start chanting. They're fighting for your football. Damn. And I remember just being like, I mean, it was 1979, maybe. But yeah, it's crazy to think how much the world's changed.
So tell us, did you change?
I have no recollection. All I know is I know
smart move.
I remember
smart move.
I remember.
I have no recollection.
I have no recollection of chanting it, but I remember saying the N-word when I was in 1st grade.
Oh, right.
And because it was something that I'd heard my dad say, and my dad fucking took me down to this dad's house, knocked on the fucking door, and said, I don't want your kids around my kid. I don't want my son just said the word. He said, I learned it in this house.
Oh, shit.
And we moved out of that neighborhood within fucking lickety split. My parents are very progressive.
The N-word is powerful, baby. See how fast you moved?
Yeah,
once
dude.
you said it.
And then we moved to a neighborhood that had one black family, Chris Colvin. And they were from Ohio. And I remember we were playing Pac-Man, and he was like my friend. Like I remember, I thought we were, and he's gone, and it wasn't Pac-Man. Whatever game we got, he was chasing me.
It's hilarious.
And he's like, take that honky, cracker ass, cracker donkey. And the whole family's laughing at me. And then I threw in take that N-bomb.
Oh, shit.
And game out. Grandma
shit.
pulled me into the other room. Chris's dad pulled me aside. Chris's mom pulled me aside. Everyone had a moment with me.
That's so funny.
About that word. And I was like, wait, my defense was, he was
just
calling
called
me
me,
honky.
yeah.
And they're like, no, he can.
Right.
And they're like, you can't say that word. And I was like, I don't even know what it means. I just, and they're like, where did you hear it? And I said, my old neighborhood. And so, yeah, but that word's a fucking.
I have a weird, not a weird relationship with the word, but when I was growing up in Jamaica, nobody dared call anybody nigger.
Really?
Yeah, like, and everybody was black. So I didn't get called nigger until I moved to America after I was 17. And then when I came here and I was listening to rap, I wouldn't even use the word. Like,
really?
Like I had to like.
You use word, but you sing it, right?
So what?
You'd sing it.
Yeah, because then rap, you know, starts playing and you start being a fan of it. So slowly you start like getting used to, but I didn't grow up with the word, you know, and then black people in Jamaica would not say it to each other.
Yeah.
And then.
That's interesting that but you know what the word I didn't mean to stop your story.
No,
I want you to
good.
keep hearing this. The word that I didn't realize was quite as powerful was blood clot or boomba clot.
Like we had other curse words. Like we had our own curse like blood clot, Ross clot, pussy clot, bomba clot.
Yeah.
You know, those are curse
and
words.
those are legit.
Right.
You can't call someone a bomba clot.
Well, Ross clot is really bad.
Boss clot?
Ross clot. That's like, or blood clot is, did you say blood clot?
Boomba clot.
Well, blood clot might be worse because that's like a woman's period cloth.
Yeah.
From whatever they use. Yeah, so.
That's a pretty fucking intense.
Yeah. I don't even know, those words don't make sense to anybody, but it's serious shit to Jamaican people.
I thought they were fun words to say, and so I was dropping them everywhere in Jamaica. And one of the guys told me, "Hey man, you got to stop saying that. Like it's kind of insulting. You keep going, hey." I kept going, where's a boomba-clot beer? Where's that pussy-clot beer?
Right. It sounds rude, like you're ordering that. You're just having fun with the
I'm having fun with the lingo.
Yeah.
Calling some words like that, say they came from a blood clot, not an ovum. From their mother's womb.
Yeah.
So your relationship with the N-word when you got to
I didn't use it.
But other black people would say it to you?
The first time I got called nigga was by a white person. And I'd never.
Let me tell you the rules. Let me tell you the rules growing up that I knew of was in my lifetime. I've heard that word a lot. I've heard that word a great deal amount of times.
Me too, yeah.
Only one time have I ever seen a white person call that to a black person. Take that back. Twice. One was in, do you remember Astor Place, Barnes & Noble? The Astor Place, Barnes & Noble?
Yeah, in the city?
Yeah, the city. A girl on rollerblades called two black girls the N-word, and they asked me to go out and help the white girl because I worked at, and I go, fuck that. And she got beat up on rollerblades in the space between the fucking front doors and the door. It was fucking
She was trapped.
Hilarious.
That's hilarious.
But and then I saw it once in college. Once in college, one guy said that at a party to two black guys. And man, I've never seen, people say racism is the all white people racist. The second that happened, not one white person, fucking every white person defended those two black people.
Right.
And I'm talking, this is 1995, 97, when you could theoretically say things were horrible still for black people's rights. Every white person was like, what the fuck did you just say?
That's good.
Yeah, but that's the only, I never had heard. So the idea that someone called you that is mind-blowing to me.
Well, it's like, so I told you I didn't use the word.
Yeah.
And never been called the word. I didn't grow up here. So I was like 19, maybe early, like 20. Like I was working at Burger King. And it was nighttime, and I took a walk in between shifts to go somewhere to kill some time to come back and do this other shift so I could make some extra money. And I was walking back, and I'm passing the drive-thru, and the customers at the drive-thru were in a car, and they were like, "Hey, Leroy, some white dudes because it was in East Meadow, Levittown. So I'm like, all right, first let me check if there's an actual Leroy behind me, to not just fly off the handle here.
Yeah.
So I turn around and it's pitch black and it's just me. So I said, okay, they're talking to me. So I'm like, what's up? And they're like, what you gonna do about it, nigga? And then I put my keys in my hand. Like, listen, the first time I heard that word, I reacted as if I'd been born here and detested and hated that word. Like, it just strikes you in a way that you just don't know until you're called it. And I like walked over to the car, they got out, and I was ready to fight 5 dudes, and I started fighting them. Some of them didn't agree with what everybody in the car said, but I started fighting them. And then the manager from the Burger King came out, kind of broke it up. And then the guy, somebody was holding me back, somebody's holding him back, then he said it again. And then somebody's holding my arm, so I kicked him in his nuts. But there was a melee out there. You know what I mean? And it's like, but it's just so crazy that somebody could call me that. I could walk up to a car with 5 guys and have the strength. It just gave me the strength to ignore that there was 5 guys in the car. That's how much that word enraged me. There was no fear. It was like, you have to fight now.
Fucking.
Let's go. There was no other option. But that's the thing. Like, now if you call me that word, I'd just laugh at you.
Yeah.
Like, if you tried to use it to hurt me, I'd just laugh. And then what are you going to do after I laugh at you? You ain't got shit. You just, because, and then I remember one night, I lived in Uniondale, which is a predominantly black town, but it's a middle class town. Me and some friends were walking, and there's a car on Uniondale Avenue going by, some white people in it, and somebody yelled out, "Niggers!" And we turned, and all I could think in my head was, it would be hilarious if the car started sputtering and broke down.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And then we just surrounded the car, but not to hurt them, just to see the fear in them. I just thought, comedically, the perfect time for their car to start sputtering and break down was right after they thought they said niggas safely in their car. And we just surrounded the car.
What a powerless group of individuals. That's such a fucking...
Well, I just feel bad for anybody that tries to use it now to hurt me or anybody, because like, what pain is going on in your life that you're trying to hurt somebody with the use of that word?
It's breaking the emergency glass.
Yes.
You're out of all the fucking options, and you got nothing.
Yeah. Would you want to be the person that's breaking the emergency glass? Nah. No. So I'm not the person breaking the emergency glass. You are. So good luck to you.
It's absolutely, I mean, yeah, I don't know.
I want to tell you one of the last times I was called it. It's maybe 3.
How many times do you think you've been called that word?
Probably like 5. By, you know, black people all the time, but white. But when you really called it, it's like by a white person. So
I can't. I'm not saying.
Ask me anything.
No,
Say
I
anything.
can't. I can't. I understand there are white people that would do that. I can't believe that happens. It's like Jared molesting kids,
right? Yeah,
from Subway. I can't believe he's in jail. Sometimes I go, I can't believe he really did.
You're like, did that really happen?
Did that really happen?
Was this is a Truman Show or something?
Yeah, like,
right?
it just blows my mind. Like, Bill Cosby's in prison. Shut the fuck up.
Right now.
Yeah,
as we talk.
Like, that's what I think when I hear what the black people go, yeah, I was called that word. It's just so far out of where my...
Right. But it's the worst thing. Worse things happen to black people. So it's like, this is nothing. You know what I mean? Like, I'm walking down the street with Yasser Lester. You know Yasser Lester?
Yeah.
And Mo Mandel. We went to the store, and we walked from the store to Mel's, ate there. Food was terrible. Terrible, bro.
Yeah.
And now we're walking back. And this is like 2014, 15. Car goes by, or van, and some dude yells out the window, "Niggers!" And then we all 3 of us turn and look, and then it continues on. And then I just turn to Mo and be like, "Sorry, man, you're the only white guy here." And we start punching him. And we just laughed. It was a funny ass fuck. I mean, Yasser started hitting him. He started laughing. It was I'm like, you're not gonna just yell some word and destroy how I feel about myself. Fuck that.
Yeah.
Everything is funny, man. Fuck that.
That is fuck, man. That is insane. I can't, it just is. I thought you were gonna say I turned to Mo and goes, I think they're talking to you.
That's funny too.
Put on a hat, Mo.
Yeah, it's disgusting that we're walking out here with you. It's bad enough.
Did you feel like you needed? These are all, remember, these are super white privilege questions. Did you feel like you needed like a course in how to be an American black guy?
Yeah, that's like, and that course takes a long fucking time.
Really?
Yeah.
So like, fuck.
What, you cramp?
I just got a cramp. I fucked my leg up running.
Shit.
I know you look at my body like, really? So it takes a long time. Was it like, because there is a thing just about being American where your references are all one thing, but when you've jumped from country to country,
right,
and then you get put into such a specific group where everything is nuance. I mean, being black in America, Patrice had to explain to me Jay-Z lyrics. Hilarious. I didn't know what he was saying. Right, but I was singing them. Patrice heard me singing them. He was like, you don't even know what you're saying.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, I do. And he's like, tell me what you're saying. I was like, I don't really know. You're right. I was using wrong words. Like, right. And so that must have been fucking insane.
Well, especially when I started doing comedy, and I started doing black comedy, doing the black comedy clubs. Like, my friends, black comics, had such an advantage because they're talking to an audience that they all were raised the same, and my shit is just limited. So I was like, fuck, I haven't lived here long enough to really know enough to, like, people talking about barbecues and shit like that, and just what it was like.
Who remembers
visiting their family
cheese?
Downtown, and just like, I never had food stamps or just any type of joke. Like
I never had food stamps.
It was out of my realm. You know what I'm saying? Like,
God damn.
I had to
because comedy's all about that singly shared experience.
Yeah.
I remember because I worked with the door of the Boston Comedy Club, and I would sit there when black comics would go on and be urban acts where I was like, I don't know anything. Right. I don't know. I remember hearing one time Tracy Morgan. I've said this a million times. But Tracy Morgan was doing observational material, and he's like, "Who remembers finger fucking by the handball courts?" And I was like, "I didn't. That's not. We didn't all do that."
It's immediately funny to me.
Like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
But so wait, how old were you when you got into stand up?
Like early 20s.
Really?
And I'd come here when I was 17. So like my black American history was like short. Like, there's comics, and then comics grew up here, and I'm like, I gotta. Like, first of all, I was using humor before I was a stand-up to like assimilate. You know what I mean? Because I was here, there was sensory overload, like school, work, weather, music, food, everything is different. And you're just trying to like expand and get friends and shit. And like, what do people talk about here? Stuff that I would talk about in Jamaica, like soccer. Ain't nobody talking about that shit here.
Fuck. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah.
Your favorite sport's just something.
Yeah, just something that's despised here.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So I had to learn American football, which was fun. First I resented it, but then I learned to love it. But it's easy to resent American football when one of your teams are the Jets. You know what I mean? Like, they suck so bad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, but you know, I learned to love it, learned to love basketball and shit, and was able to communicate with people on that level. It's like you just have to figure out like a language to like make friends and shit. So then humor was one of them. And then that led me to later on, like, say, let's do comedy. You know what I mean?
So what was one of your first jokes that worked? Do you remember?
I don't know if this worked. But like, I was kind of like a deadpan comic.
You're still pretty dry.
Yeah, still pretty dry. Let me like, now I don't know. It used to be my favorite joke, but I don't. And then people used to laugh, but I don't know. I was like, I hate birds. Every time I see a bird, I run them over. Just one less bird to shit on my car. And that was a joke. And then I had this. I used to notice that comics used to make jokes out of news stories, and one of them. So I had this or just facts. You could shift facts. Like most car accidents happen within 10 miles of your home. I haven't been in a car accident in years. I just parked 20 miles from my house.
Yeah.
So like that was a joke. And I had to just have like a shitty car.
That had to be so tough doing urban rooms, doing material that is
But then I couldn't do those jokes.
Yeah.
So those like that's a different style. That was like more white humor. So then I had to like
So what would you do when you did urban rooms?
Well, first
Would you try to lose your accent at all?
Nah, but I would then I leaned into it and kind of like used it.
Yeah.
Because then I started talking about there was enough Jamaicans in New York, and people start knowing more about Jamaicans by the time I started doing comedy. And so every American had been around Jamaicans and had them in their school and in their lives.
Yeah.
So then I just started like my first hit set in a black room was about being Jamaican and like how hard my parents work. And I was like, when you grow up in a Jamaican home, you know, you can't, once you wake up, you're up for the day. There's no such thing as a nap. I was like, one time my father caught me sleeping, you know, like, and he came home and he opened the door and said, well, you sleeping? You sleeping? Let me tell you something. Me have 3 hours sleep last year. And now you're sleeping? And I said, then I went to the fridge to make something to eat. I said, well, you eating bread and butter at the same time? That's 2 meals. Why not have the bread now and have the butter later? Next thing you know, you're going to want macaroni and cheese, snack, crackle, and pop.
Crackle and pop.
And you have on the kitchen light and the fridge light at the same time.
Oh, that's fucking great.
You want to send me to the poorhouse? I'm like, shit, I thought we was in the poorhouse. There's another place worse than this. So that was like, well.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, because I remember I remember hearing jokes, hearing Jamaican jokes. And I remember that was like super popular. I remember DC Benny had a joke about, and I was like, "That's brilliant." Wait, you know what it is?
If it's the Jamaican nanny one.
Oh yeah, a bean patty on a beef patty on a red stripe. I was taking a flight into Jamaica, and the captain goes, "There's no smuggling drugs into Jamaica," and he goes, "Smuggling drugs into Jamaica." DC Benny is a beast.
Yeah, he's a beast. I just did some shows with him too.
Really?
Yeah, we did the Borgata in Atlantic City.
Underrated, gorgeous guy.
Yeah, he ripped.
Underrated,
and
gorgeous guy.
Yeah.
He's always been one of the best looking comics.
Yeah.
And fucking hilarious, dude.
Yeah.
When he'd murder at the Boston.
Yeah.
So wait, so who was in your group when you started?
Like Jeff Ross was around, Patrice came around, Godfrey came around.
I can see Patrice. I can see Patrice busting your balls nonstop.
Well, when he came from Boston, like I used to be a regular at the Boston too, but I think it's before you were there.
No, you were. I was.
Okay.
That's the poster, the flyer. That. You see the flyer on the wall with Louis Schaefer on it?
Oh shit! You knew Louis. Where is it?
Yeah, I handed that flyer out. Talent, I think, was on that. Maceo, yeah.
Okay, yeah. All right, so you were there.
Jeff, yeah.
So there was the black class. Like I used to hang out with Talent and Will.
Yeah, Will Smith.
And Rudy Rush.
I remember Rudy Rush.
Yeah.
I remember Rudy Rush.
Remember Rudy Rush? Oh shit.
Mike Epps would be around.
And Mike Epps was like the best back then.
Dude,
nigga.
The hardest I've ever seen anyone kill ever in my life was Mike. I used to party with Mike. He would never remember me now. But I used to party with Mike a bunch.
Oh, word?
Yeah. But the hardest I'd ever seen anyone kill was Mike Epps in that room. Him, do you know what joke destroyed me?
What?
God damn it, why can't I remember his name? He was Haitian. He had a Haitian name.
Is it Ruperto Vanderpool?
No, he had the joke about
he's Dominican.
No, he had the joke about Franz
Cassius. Franz was fucking funny.
Dude, I see Franz every now and then. Him and his brother, I think, live out here.
Yeah.
Franz Cassius had a joke about the subway shooter or the train shooter. And he just slinked down his chair.
He said I would have survived because the guy shot up the subway, the Long Island Railroad.
Yeah.
And Franz is like, man, I would have been he's like, I would have been protected. He said, no, you shot me. Move on to him.
Yeah.
And then the shooter be like, and then he just like keeps sliding towards the door.
Keep sliding all out the door.
Yeah, and then when the guy, and then stay still, and when the guy was like, didn't I shoot you over there? It's like, nah, you just shot me. It's just a funny
It
ass.
was the funniest. Fuck, I've never laughed harder.
Yeah, it was a funny ass joke.
But Mike Yard, Mike B.
Yeah, Mike B.
Mike B
came on the scene, and that motherfucker was a murderer.
Dude, I always said I only hung out with black comics. I mean, I hung out with like Tony Woods was like a legit friend.
Right.
But like Patrice, Mike B, Mike Yard, Todd Lynn was around.
Todd Lynn was around, yeah.
But that's mostly, I guess now when I look back, I go, I think the Boston Comedy Club is just more urban.
Well, on Sunday nights it was.
Sunday nights was like, but line around the corner.
Yeah, yeah.
I was walking by on Sunday night. This is going to sound like a lie but to anyone listening. And by the way, this may just be folklore.
Right.
In that someone told me this, but I go, I was there walking by when Onyx shot up the Bag It In.
Oh, I was there.
I wasn't there. I wasn't there.
I was there.
I was there.
I
time.
saw it. I was there.
You were there. Onyx shot up.
It was Fedro, I think, or he didn't shoot it up. It was. There was these. It was a special night at the club. I think Talent and them had a party. I was always at the Boston Sunday night, whether I was performing or not. It was just like I was just so happy that there was something to do on Sunday night. It was so boring.
Sunday night was dead everywhere in the city.
Just everywhere in life. Period. My whole life, Sunday night used to torture the shit out of me. Like, how do we get out of this? This is like Groundhog's Day.
Yeah,
there's nothing going on. And then Sunday night, you go to the Boston Comedy Club. Lines around the corner, more than one show. This is beautiful people. And then sometimes somebody throw a party, or there'd be a barbecue at the basketball court in the middle of the night, and we'd go grill and play basketball. But then the project people that were lived above, we used to throw bottles down because we were keeping them awake, and they had to go to work on Monday, so we had to like stop going there. But yeah, it was just like a fucking blessing. And then so it was a anniversary or something, and there was this guy. He was dating this girl, and he must have been like either a fireman, but I didn't know, or he was a cop and we didn't know, but he was always at the Boston. And then he got into it with those guys, but not the main guys. And then he pulled out, everybody scattered, but he just fired up in the air that night to get people off him. And then he left. Yeah. But yeah, I was right there. I'm talking to these girls. Scuffle starts.
Shut the fuck up.
Pat, pat, pat. And everybody screamed and ran a little bit. Yeah.
I was there. I wasn't inside the Baggett. I was on the street because I lived on McDougal across from the Comedy Cellar. I lived directly across from the Comedy Cellar.
How much did that cost to live there then? Because I used to
$1,600.
$1,600. That's a lot.
Me and a roommate shared it. I paid $800.
That's
yeah. It was smaller than this room. It was basically a bathroom, a kitchen, and a living room, which you could theoretically put a bed in. And we built 2 lofts.
Hilarious.
And so we lived. I mean, it was just every morning. My roommate Ty Rodriguez would fart and go, "What did that asshole say?" And so I had many a night with Mike Epps up in that apartment because it was always right around there. So if anyone wanted to party, I was right there. And then my next place was on Cornelia Street in between Thompson, or in between Bleecker and West 3rd, West 4th. So West 3rd, I think. And so that was just 1 block west of 6th Avenue. And so that was right adjacent. So everyone used to come back and party back then. That's when I
stayed right there.
I stayed right there. Yeah. It's white privilege.
It's like, here's the clubs. I'm staying right there.
Yeah.
You didn't even fuck with the subway.
No, I never got on the subway ever.
Yeah.
I would never go uptown to do. I went up to get past at the comedy strip. Comic strip.
Yeah, on Second.
And Lucian told me to quit comedy. I didn't have it. And I was like, hold on. I was like, I was already just written up in Rolling Stone. I was like, I have a career kind of moving forward. And he goes, yeah, that was luck, man. You're not a comedian. You'll never be a comedian.
Damn.
And I was like, okay, I'm never coming back to this club.
Right.
And then I did.
Saved you a lot of money
Yeah, I could have.
on subway tokens and shit. You
Yeah.
just stayed, got the apartment right there.
And then I just got a job working the door to Boston. So I just would go Boston to cellar, cellar to Boston.
Right.
I never even really worked at the cellar. I just worked the door
Right.
at Boston.
Damn.
But all the comics that like Donnell, to this day, I think I'm good friends with Donnell. But Donnell was one of the first guys that was just really sweet.
Right.
But never saw Chappelle. I mean, Chappelle, see him there once in a while.
Right.
You went to England.
He was gone
which-
by then.
Yeah, he was in L.A.
Yeah.
He came home. He came back home. I'm fucking... listen to the way I speak. He came back to the cellar, to the store one night. Or, God damn it,
Boston.
Bert. To the Boston. I was working the door, and I just gotten a development deal. I got a development deal doing stand-up after 6 months.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. And
That
so,
is, no, that is white privilege. Jesus.
dude, I'm the luckiest guy you'll ever fucking meet.
Fuck it.
And so Patrice was sitting outside and Patrice was busting my balls about how much my deal was. He goes, how much is it? And I said, I'm not going to tell you. And he goes, 100,000. And I said, and he goes, 125,000, 200. Like, kept just guessing numbers. And then he guessed right, and he saw it in my eyes, and he goes, "Oh, I guessed it, didn't I?" And Chappelle walked up, said hi, and said, "What's going on?" And Patrice goes, "This motherfucker right here got a deal after 6 months of doing stand-up."
Oh, shit.
Can you believe that? And Chappelle was like, I think he was high, but he goes, "Here's the problem with Hollywood. They're gonna tell you." They're going to tell you you can paint whatever picture you want to paint, but when they give you the palette, it's just going to have one color of all the same shade. And they're going to go, the industry's buying green. Just painting green today. You're like, paint the whole thing in green? Paint the whole thing in green. And he just walked in. He was pretty fucked up that night. He got into a fight with the audience member.
Oh, where?
Yeah. He was doing, I've told this before, but he was doing a bit about they market cigarettes to black people with menthol.
Right.
And he was like, one day they're going to come out with watermelon cigarettes and fried chicken cigarettes. And he was pretty fucked up.
But he made sound sense what he said to you. Because that's what they still do that today.
Oh, they still do that today.
Yeah.
But that's the joke he said on stage, by the way, about the cigarettes, right?
Right.
So there are these 3 Wall Street types in the front row. White guys, Wall Street types. And they're smoking. This is back when you could smoke indoors. They're smoking cigarettes. Chappelle runs out of cigarettes and goes, "Hey, man, can I get a cigarette from you?" And the guy goes, "Yeah, it's watermelon flavored."
Oh,
and
shit.
Chappelle forgot he told that joke. And he went, "What did you just say to me?" He goes, and you could see the guy's like,
It's actually a funny line.
he goes, It's watermelon flavored.
Call back.
Like, yeah, I'm calling back your joke.
Yeah.
And Chappelle was like, "How the fuck are you going to say that to a black man? You got watermelon flavored cigarettes." And the guy's like, "Hey, man, I just thought," and Chappelle was like, and this was before he was as swole as he is now. He was like, "Fuck you." And then I think Patrice jumped in, Godfrey jumped in, like a bunch of black guys jumped in, and there was a melee.
Oh, there's a melee?
There was a melee, and they split everyone up. Show's over. Everyone went home. I didn't get to do my set.
Oh, shit. It's hilarious. I had a melee in the Boston once.
Really?
Yeah. It was an audition. And, somebody was paying comics 10 G's, which was a lot of money at the time, still is, to do this tour. It's a cigarette company, actually. It's like a Marlboro comedy tour. I don't know if you've ever, Chappelle had done it, Tony Woods had done it. So I'm like, I want to get on this thing. I want to make this money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I'm doing my set. They're there. And this guy, maybe I started it, but I'm fucking with him, you know?
Yeah.
Within the flow of the set and the material. Everybody's dying, you know? Then he gets up to go to the bathroom. I make fun of him. And then he comes back. I make fun of him, you know? And then he spits at me. You know, there's one row, he's behind that row, and he spits at me. Spit lands on this pregnant lady. She's with her dude. And then he gets up, but the guy who spits tries to rush the stage, and then I'm like, I got the mic stand. I'm like, it's like playing with a kid, like keeping him off you.
Yes, yeah.
And then the guy whose wife got spit on jumps in, and that guy's friend jumps, and it's Frosty was the door guy at the time.
Oh wow!
And he just loved action. He jumped in, and it was just like a whole place. And then they just cleared it out. Took a minute, put everything back, and there's like, finish your set. In front of the cigarette company, and I'm like, I want the gigs. I go back on stage, and then now I'm bombing. Like I was the guy who was just killing, but I kind of caused this whole melee. Oh. And it's like every joke that used to kill my closer, nothing. And I did not go to Europe and make $10,000 to $20,000 on that cigarette tour.
You did tour with Chappelle in Ireland, or
we did the Edinburgh Comedy Festival.
And tell me about that, because I remember hearing stories about you guys. Just everything was fun as fuck, and like I remember maybe that was the year. Like I'm guessing you guys went in '96 or '97, maybe
something like that. I can't remember.
Yeah, because I just started. I just started doing the door in 98, 99, 98,
right,
99, something like that. But I remember sitting outside and everyone was telling stories.
Yeah,
and you were there, and you still had long dreadlocks.
Yeah.
And everyone was laughing so fucking hard at some doorbell story.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I'm just listening going like, oh, that's, yeah. And I'm just laughing. And someone looked at me going, what are you laughing for? And I was like, just eavesdropping.
Yeah, it was just like, I was on a show called Stand Up Black America that Barry Katz put together, or he got me on it. It was with Sully McCullough and Renee, I think her name is Hicks. She used to kill and sell out colleges, or just making mad college money.
Yeah.
So we were on the show. And so then Dave Chappelle had his own show, and he had Tony Woods open for him. So then they gave us, me, Renee Hicks, and Sully, our own apartment. It's like if there's Coachella, people rent out their place that live in town and go away for that amount of time, but the whole festival is a month. So we have our own place, you know, we'll move our luggage, we're doing laundry, we're cooking, we're living there. And Chappelle's apartment's around the corner. I could walk around to his shit with Tony Woods. And then there were girls and people in town, and you just become a local for that month. And there was some guys, some young kids. I used to play basketball with them every morning. They'd knock on the door, we'd go to the court, we'd ball. And then
you're like what, 20?
Early 20s, man.
And Chappelle's what, like 16?
He's a teenager.
Tony's teenager. What, 53 at the time?
He's 92 at the time.
Tony,
but he doesn't. He never ages either.
Tony hasn't aged a fucking day.
I think he just got to the age he was going to look ahead of time and just
24,
stayed there
and
waited
40.
for everybody. Yeah, just waited for everybody to catch up. So then it was just fun. And then every night we do our shows. Sometimes we do Chappelle's show, and there's an African nightclub. We go there for after parties. We go to Pizza Hut. That was the fancy restaurant in Edinburgh at the time. And we eat there at night and shit. And we just hang out. I had a girlfriend that I'd broken up with. She came for the last week of the festival. And just as like, I know she's breaking up. We broke up, but she's like, I just wanted to like come for the last week of the festival. She'd never been to Scotland before, so she came. And then we actually got into a fight there with her. Like, first of all, she was just bad energy.
Yeah.
And Barry took me aside and said, hey, man, you got to break up with this girl.
Was it Barry and Jason Steinberg that were with you guys?
Jason was there.
Can I tell you how creepy this is? That I remember eavesdropping on this conversation. I was you, Tony Woods, and it might have been Chappelle. All you guys are talking, and Jason Steinberg maybe, but I remember
Steinberg came with us, so he was there.
Jason was with you guys.
Yeah.
God, that's so bizarre that fucking 20 years later, I'm talking to you about a conversation I listened to.
That's funny. That's funny. Because here's the thing. Like, I'm thinking it's just the beginning of comedy. Like, when we got back, Jason was like, man, that's probably the best time of my life. And he'll say that like years later. And I was like, man, nah, there's more to look forward to. But it was really fun. Yeah. It was like really fun. Like we went to see this Nat King Cole tribute, me, Chappelle, and Woods. And it was like this very classy event. and me and Chappelle was telling your mama jokes to each other the whole time, and Tony Woods was just rolling, and we just going at it. Like to this day, when I see Chappelle, he's like, "Hey man, your mother just this and that." Like we continue. This is the longest your mama battle in the history of your mama battles. Like it to this day, he'll say something from the stage, or if we're in the hallway at the Comedy Store, you'll hear him say something, I'll say something back.
Oh,
yeah.
What a cool experience to share when you're that young.
Yeah.
With people that you've now known for probably 20, 30 years now.
Yeah, man. It was just fun. Like, it's the things you don't know it's going to happen when you start comedy and you're just bombing and you can't figure it out and you're frustrated. But I was like, I just got to keep doing this, but I'll figure this out. And it just along the way of figuring out, some things happen and you have some good ass times.
When did things started clicking for you in comedy? Where you were like, now I'm starting to get my voice. Because I think it's inarguable. You're every comic's favorite comic to watch. I mean, Rogan was, I think Rogan really kind of like was the one that was probably standing in the back the most for you recently, where I think he's turned more fans onto you,
right? Yeah,
and kind of been like a champion, because Rogan definitely, without a doubt, is someone that like if you're walking by, he'll grab you and go, "Yo, Ian's on," and you can sit back and watch.
That's so dope.
But you've always been a comic. When did it start clicking for you, writing wise? Where you were like, "Oh, I'm getting my pacing. Like I'm really like."
Right. Well, I've been like 3 or 4 different comics. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you may have too, or you might have just had the one you and
I've got one mediocre comic that I've been milking my whole career. A guy who doesn't know how to cut a story short.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
But the first one was like starting out in white clubs. Then became the comic that was doing mostly black clubs, and then just loud and just like just giving the energy that don't heckle me because I could fuck you up.
Yeah.
But scared as shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But in that style, I was still writing the type of jokes that I use now. It's just the way I was telling them was just out of fear. I just told them in a fear style. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to trick people into believing, oh, this dude is ferocious, you know what I'm saying? Like just listen to him, because I've seen, and that was kind of like a lot of New York black comic style anyway, because you don't want to get booed. Like you get booed, man, that everybody's on the phone talking about your ass. You know, you're right about that. That was the New York black style was like, and then you had like these anomalies of like Tony Woods and Greer Barnes, who went up. I mean, I did a outside festival. I didn't do it. We were in the town, so we met up with Tony Woods, me and JB Smoove, and Tony's like, I was like, how is he gonna do this? This is outside. It's like these black people, they want their comedy, you know?
Yeah.
And he just went up there, and it's just ripples of laughter. He's just killing. I'm like, how the fuck did Tony Woods do this? And it was just like, so I saw the potential for you to be you, even under the circumstances that you build up in your mind to be full of duress. You know what I mean? But back then, I wasn't willing to take the chance to. And then I did have a lot of energy back then. You know, I've changed as a person.
I think when you're younger, your voice is high. Like look at Chappelle. Chappelle's voice was so high as a kid.
Yeah, and he had,
even up until like he was 30.
Yeah.
And then I think that when you get older, you do kind of fall into your natural rhythms as a man.
Yeah.
That's why I always think like, look at Burr, even though Burr's voice is still very high.
Yeah.
But Burr, if you look at Burr younger, he was this clean, like cheery, like, and then I take the pen and whack, 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 whack. And now you hear him, he's like, I don't know, I don't want to do any of his bits. But even the thing he says, the first things that come out of his mouth are, you're like, wow, that's legit Tony Woods confidence.
Right, yeah. Man, it's just... So yeah, I did that. Was aggressive. Trying to remember the question so I can finish answer it. So I was aggressive, and then but I also always just wanted to be original because the comics that I looked up to were like Cosby
Yeah,
as a comic. Yeah, I know. Richard Pryor.
I look at him more of as like a dater.
As a comic, I
look up to him as a
a
man.
comic, yeah, but not as a But the originality and comedy, the thing that I would get certain things early, like concepts, like say. So how do you become original when there's so many people do it? You talk about shit you're going through. That's what Richard Pryor did. So I said, okay, follow that type
takes
of blueprint.
Forever for anyone to learn too. Is where you go, oh, I got to talk about just the things I did.
Right.
As opposed to, that is such a really huge point. 'Cause if you look at that Comfortably Dumb special over there, that thing, those are all things I mean, there's a couple things in there that I did, that I went through, but the vast majority of them are things that I think would go over well in a room.
Yeah. So I figured that out kind of early, and I tried to stay to that.
Yeah.
And then I had a lot of comic friends who were honest. They had no problem giving you shit. And then I would take the criticism. Like one time I thought, oh, I got the shit together. And then it's like, you do a lot of black-white jokes. I was like, no, I don't. And they started going through them. I was like, oh, shit, I do. So I dropped those immediately.
Yeah.
And then just start, because I didn't intend to have that. And that's kind of considered hacky. So I was like, all right, I got to start this thing over again. Go to the original, the blueprint of being just what's going on with you? What's going on with you? And my first hit set was a Jamaican set, and then I just evolved and lived. And I also realized I have to just keep living, and shit will come and shit will happen.
So the special you just did with All Things Comedy,
right?
Where was the concept behind making it like a TED Talk?
I wrote on a lot of sketch shows, and then comedy is really saturated now. There's a lot of specials, and you have to be famous to stand out. I didn't want to get lost.
Yeah.
So
you took your shirt off?
Hey man, as long as they're hearing you. As long as they're hearing you. It's like, what? This man took her shirt off in her special. You know what I mean? Like, listen, as long as you figure out a way for people to hear you. The worst thing is saying something and nobody hears that shit. You know what I mean?
And the thing that's even worse than that, or equally as worse, is having stuff to say, but no one cares.
Right.
I said to someone the other day, they were saying something about my career, and I was like, "Oh, I think you misunderstand things." Like 4 years ago, I think it's honestly 4 years ago. If I had quit comedy, no one would have cared. No one would have known. They just would have been like, yeah, whatever happened to that dude?
Oh, shit.
Now, if I quit comedy, everyone would be like, whoa,
why?
What the fuck, dude?
Yeah.
You've got a career.
Yeah.
But it's so funny
Just
that
4 years ago?
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
I think you're right.
Yeah. 4 years ago, I'm guessing right around maybe 3-4 years ago.
Damn.
And so it's a really a blessed place to know that people care. I mean, your fan base probably is like mine has, with the comedy boom, has kind of exploded a little bit.
Right.
And it's nice too, because during I'd say the comedy depression, which I think people were still making, but the way to make money for those listening, and the way to make money, say 9 years ago, was you just go do Funny Bones for $1,500,
right,
and you're away from your family, and you come back, and then you do Funny Bones the next week, and then you do Funny Bones, and maybe next year they'll give you $2,000,
right,
but you're never really going to get over probably $2,700,
right.
And for the most of the time, you were running TV shows and writing on TV shows,
right.
And so, for me, I was working on Travel Channel,
right.
And then
how long were you on the Travel Channel?
9 years.
9 years. What show were you doing?
I did a fucking
bunch of shows.
I did every show they gave me.
Dope.
I did one called Birth Conquer, one called Trip Flip. Those were two big ones. I did one called Scream If You Know the Answer. I did Trip of a Lifetime.
Yeah.
I did 5 O'Clock Somewhere. I did so many fucking shows for them. I heard Bert was on FX, but and so I think me and you, it's like,
right,
our careers have started to blossom,
right,
since I know that you've always focused on stand up, but
people
for me,
I did, but people don't count it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like, I always did stand up, but if you're not like completely in it and on the road, he's a writer. You know what I mean?
How many shows have you written for?
A lot.
Like, what are some of the shows?
Blackish, Carmichael Show.
I heard Blackish.
Two
I've never
Broke
seen
Girls.
Blackish.
Mhm.
I heard Blackish is the greatest fucking show on
It's
television.
just one of the good ones. Yeah.
It never hit my radar of like tuning in, and I was
Right.
on the road at the time.
Yeah.
But keep going with.
Now there's shows like that they're great. I never watch them.
Yeah, it doesn't catch
I've never
you.
watched Veep. I
Veep.
plan to.
I've never watched Veep.
Yeah, I plan to at some point.
Wait,
but
what
I
other
never
shows
watched
were you
it.
writing on?
So Two Broke Girls, Crashing, Friends from College on Netflix, Chocolate News.
Was that David Allen Greer?
David Allen Greer, that was fun. That motherfucker's funny as shit. It's fun.
Chocolate.
Chocolate News. David Allen Greer is a great talent to ride if you're a rider. This
Yeah?
motherfucker, yeah. Chocolate
What's your
News.
favorite show you wrote on?
One of them was Lyricist Lounge. And I just came from Heather McDonald's house. She said she wants to have you over with the family and Joe Coy, and I should come and maybe bring a date.
Wait, who said this?
Heather McDonald.
That's
yeah.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck yeah. I would love
Yeah.
that.
So I'm down.
Lyricist Lounge.
And she was a writer. We shared the same room.
Yeah.
My first 2 writing jobs, Heather McDonald, me and her shared an office.
For real?
Yeah, it was Keenan's talk show on Fox.
Yeah.
And then the next job immediately after was the Lyricist Lounge, and Heather was a castmate and writer on the show.
Jesus.
Yeah, for like 2 seasons.
That's crazy. I don't have that many people. The first TV show I was on, I was with Gary Valentine. Do you remember Gary?
Oh yeah,
Valentine?
I started with him in Long Island.
Yeah, Gary Valentine. And I was such a snob about comedy that because I was like, I'm a New York comic. It's
yeah.
LA comedy shit. I did a couple sets, I'd murder, right? And or at least what I thought was murdering. And then Gary was like, hey, I'm doing a set at the Ice House. You want to come out? And I was like, I don't really care to watch comedy. He's like, come on out. We'll drink. We'll party. We'll have a good night. We'll come out to the show. I'm doing one show and then we'll leave. You did an hour at the Ice House. I was urinating in my pants. I was laughing. I've never laughed that hard at a comic. And it was like a finely tuned act.
Yeah.
Like a fucking just... And I was blown away. I didn't know anything about the road. I didn't know anything about doing an hour.
Right.
I didn't know how that worked. I was like, I only knew how to do a 10-minute set.
Right.
I hadn't even done
It's
15
funny.
minutes.
Yeah, done a 10-minute set, and you're like, I'm a comic.
Yeah, I'm a comic. I was on a TV show. I made it.
Yeah,
I'd say shit to people.
No wonder 4 years ago nobody would have cared if 10 minutes, bro.
10 minutes. Dude, I remember Patrice, you talk about those relationships you have with people early on. I did Edinburgh with Patrice and Rich Voss.
Oh yeah, that must have been fun.
It sounds fun
When
now.
Keith was there, I was supposed to go on that.
Keith?
Yeah, Keith, but so he did a show with Keith, Patrice, if it's the same time, and Drew Frazier.
I think that's the year after.
That's the year after. I was supposed to go with those 3 then.
Yeah, this was 98. I'm guessing maybe 99. And it was me. It might have been 2000. Might have been 2000. It was me, Voss, Ben Bailey showed up for the middle of it, and Patrice. And you look back at that and you go, God damn it, man, what a fucking group of fucking legends to be sitting in a room with.
Right.
But at the time I was getting deals and I listened. Like Rich has always been very, very sweet to me.
Right.
It's despite in public he'd destroy you and make fun of everything you wear. Personally, he was always very sweet, and so he'd be like, "Hey, you want to go golfing today? I'm gonna go golfing."
Right.
Very nice. Almost like looked at me as like a child. Patrice was brutal, but he'd say things to me where you'd go, "Oh, thank God someone said that."
Yeah, exactly. Like he's the one with the N-word. He's like he was always right.
Yeah.
So when we had this discussion about the N-word, I was like, this shit don't bother me. He's like, for what? What's it gonna do? Like this, you get angry, the person gets wins, blah 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 blah. I was like, he's right. I didn't want him to be because I wanted to have the reaction that I always had. Like Patrice. So I was roommates with Will, so Vince.
Yeah.
Before Patrice, and Patrice took my old room when I moved to LA. He took the duplex that they lived in Jersey City.
Yeah.
So then Patrice but when Patrice would come to LA,
Patrice lived with Will
he
for a long time,
He lived
didn't
with
he?
Will for a long time until he bought his place.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Yeah, but then Patrice would, whenever he came to LA, he'd sometimes not take the hotel and stay with me.
Yeah. I remember Patrice said, I was about to leave.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, man, I'm so glad we got to become friends. He's like, we're not friends. He goes, we're guys who work together. He's like, we're guys who work together who don't mind each other. That's what we are. And he was like, a friend can I stay with your parents when I go down to Tampa? And I was like, oh, probably not. And he was like, why not? And I said, well, I mean, what am I just be like, hey, this guy Patrice? He goes, I thought we were friends. I was like, oh, good point. He's like, are you going to pick me up from the airport? I was like, nah, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not driving to the airport. And then he did a Showtime special, and I filled up my car with a bunch of people from my TV show, and I said, you guys are going to go see one of the funniest fucking human beings ever. Three of them. I think Gary Goldman was on that.
Right.
And so I took him out to see Gary and Patrice murdered.
Yeah, man.
And he saw me after the thing. He's like, what are you doing here? I said, remember, we're friends. And he was like, oh.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. Did you go to his funeral?
Yeah, it was. I looked forward to it. I knew it was going to be a fun ass time.
Look forward to it.
Yeah. I mean, he was dead, so there's nothing I could do about it.
Yeah.
But it's like out of respect. Let me tell you something. Went there. Did you go?
I didn't. I'll tell you why. I found out he passed. We were at Rusty's dog shop, pet shop. And Frosty called me and said, hey, just so you know, Patrice passed. And I got really emotional. And I felt silly for getting emotional.
Me too.
Because I just could hear Patrice going, what the fuck are you doing?
Let me tell you something. I knew about, I was in New York when he got in the coma, so I wanted to go visit him. I was talking to Burr. I said, should I go visit him? They said, don't go visit. He's gonna recover. But I don't know. I should go. And he's like, let's wait a little bit. And then he said something like that. I don't know. But then something said go, but I went against my instinct. And then I came back to LA. And then I got the call after I got back to LA, like whatever amount of days later. And yeah, it didn't make it.
Yeah.
And then I put the phone down. And then I went down to the floor. And then I heard a voice say, nigga, what are you doing? He's like, what are you doing? Get up.
Yeah.
He's like, and I was like, yeah. I just felt like that's what you do in the movies or something. And the voice just like, hey, man, fuck it. This is me. Like, yeah. And I got up and I was like, over it.
We were at Rusty's and I drove. I pulled in. Frosty told me I was going through some other drama at the time. And I was obsessed with this one thing. And then he told me, I pulled into our front driveway and my wife, I told my wife, I'd been holding on to it, going like, fuck, man. And then I said to my wife, I go, hey, just a heads up, Patrice passed. And then I started crying and my wife went, oh, honey. And I could hear Patrice going, bitch, I'm not crying if you die.
Yeah.
You think I'm going to cry? And then my wife goes, do you want to go to the funeral? I had two feelings. Number one, personally, I thought I was friends with Patrice. I felt like if I saw
Patrice,
yeah, right. I worked with Patrice, but like if I saw him, we'd hang out and bullshit. Right. I didn't text with him. Right. I talked to him on Twitter a couple times. But for the most part, like I didn't. I was like, I feel like someone like me going is there because I knew that it was going to be a fucking madhouse. Right. Like I go, I don't deserve to go there. And then I heard Patrice going, I'm definitely not flying to your funeral. Like I would definitely not fly to your funeral. And I'm like, that should be the litmus. Would you fly to that? Would that person fly to your funeral? Right. Then you should fly to their funeral. And I was like, Patrice, and then my wife's like, they can get you a ticket for $900. And Patrice is like, stay home.
That's hilarious.
In my head.
I went, I don't know why I was in New York. But I went, I was going to go anyway. And then went in the back, like in the church there. And the church had a back room. And Will was back there. And Keith and Patrice and Chris Rock came back there. And some other comics. And we just roasted each other, bro. Oh. His mom was right there.
Really?
And she gets it. She knows him. We were laughing our asses off. And then the speeches were emotional, but they were all fucking funny. You know what I mean? That was just like David Allen Greer. It was just really, I had a better time there than most weddings. And I've been some good ass weddings. This is fun, man.
Fucking. I mean, I think I won't ever regret not going, but man, I wouldn't mind having that life experience.
Right, yeah. Like everybody knew what it was. The same way you hear that voice in your head about, like, everybody knew you don't come here to this funeral with that funeral mentality bullshit. This is my funeral. Respect me and have some fun.
Yeah.
Nothing should change. We're gonna clown, we're gonna laugh, we're gonna have a good time, we're gonna really celebrate. And then they had something, I think, was it The Stand or something afterwards? And we went there, there was food and shit like that. And Dane was there, you know, it's just.
Is it crazy to know, because for someone like Patrice, who you knew, is it crazy to hear the way people eulogize him in a way that, like, in a weird way, I can't see Patrice even enjoying, and then watch people co-opt what they believe is the id of Patrice these days in keeping it real, and it's like Norton said Patrice burned bridges before he'd even cross them, and
yeah, he burned them and then set them on fire and then cross them while they're on fire.
But like, is it weird? Because I always find it odd to hear people that Patrice would have disliked
right.
celebrate Patrice.
Right. Well, it's show business, so people are like, I don't know what the term is, whatever makes them look cool. So those people are always gonna do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then maybe they would have liked Patrice, but he wouldn't have liked them. That still doesn't stop them from not liking him.
Yeah, because
there's so much to like.
I mean, the first fucking 6 months of me knowing Patrice, probably he definitely did not like me, and I loved him.
Right.
I remember he caught me saying,
if he's fucking with you, he likes you.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah, he caught me doing the signs of the cross before I go on stage. And he was like, don't ever let me see you pray so that you don't bomb. You're asking God to not fucking bomb. And I got on stage and I bombed. And he came off. He goes, where's your God now?
That's so fucking funny. That's fucking hilarious. Oh, man.
Oh, so let's talk about the special a little bit. We should have spent the whole time talking about special. But in my head, I was like, I've known of you.
Right.
For my whole career,
right?
But I feel like I didn't know you until like the last maybe like 10 years.
Yeah.
But so this All Things Comedy, the special, you did it like a TED Talk, but it's your regular stand up.
It's my regular stand up, but I added another layer of funny to it by doing it like a TED Talk. Because comics, we talk about topics and then we move on from topic to topic, and we have theories and ideas that are contrary to the way these topics have been displayed to us in our lives. Yeah. And so, like, I don't feel this way about this one thing that everybody feels, and so let me turn it on its head. So it's good to present it it's kind of, my stand-up is like a TED Talk speech without the apparatus anyway. So I just added the theater of the TED Talk to it, just to add another layer and to goof off and be funny. And
it's great because I love that it's Bill Burr Presents, but it isn't the shitty way. Is Bill Burr really presenting you?
Yes,
it really was brilliantly done.
Yeah, and he does the TED Talk speech to introduce me in the beginning, and
this man
the piece
is
perfect. Yeah, this man is none of them. And then it's just fun. It was a good fun night, and people came out. The set was.
I tried to come down. I tried to come down.
Yeah, I know. I was like, "Where's Bert with the bus of people?"
I was gonna get a bus of people, but I had to work.
Yeah, shit.
Or something like that. I forget what it was, but I was
like, because Mike told me. I said, and you weren't sure if you should do it, and I was like,
hey, can I get a bus and bring a bunch of people down? And I was like, hold on 1 second. Because sometimes, comics' brains work differently.
Yeah, I feel
sometimes people may go, hey, man, this is my evening. Or some people go, like, I definitely would not like that. I would not like 20 comics coming to my show.
I was down, man. I was like, I told Mike, let's do it. Let's party. Let's have fun. I wanted to have fun with this thing, and I was happy that the amount of comics that came to see me do it, because like you said, I'm a comics comic, and it's like a lot of comics root for me.
You know what I'm saying? Root for you.
And that's a great.
That's why no one begrudges your success.
Right.
It's like every comic roots for you. Right. I think I have I think I'm losing it now, but I think 4 years ago I had a lot of comics rooting for me. I think some comics
but that's
started to hate my guts.
that's when you're getting more and more famous. Like I was just about to say, I want to get to the amount of money where comics stop rooting for me.
Yeah,
but you know,
Yeah.
because they got to be mature enough to still root for me. It's not my fault.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's not, and then you start rooting for people, and you see people that you secretly rooted against, and you go, "Oh man, that's a really good person." They're going through some shit right now.
Yeah, exactly.
You were texting with Jesus the whole time when we were on tour.
Oh, yeah.
You text with Jesus a lot.
Yeah, he's so funny. Like I met him, he was a parking lot guy. I did some Patrice shit to him when I first met him.
Yeah.
He's like, I say, hey man, I'm not shaking your hand until you become a comedy store regular. And I didn't. I'd say hi to him,
Dude,
but I wouldn't shake his hand.
He is one of the funniest dudes. Just on stage, that's fine.
Right, off.
Off stage, he's so fucking quick.
Yeah.
He's taught me more about racism than anything in the fucking world. So many times he catches me doing really white shit. Because I'm not gonna pretend to ever be woke.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna be who I am.
Just be who you
and
are.
If I fuck up, I'll tell you I fucked up, and that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
I used to have a joke on stage, not a joke, but a premise. The beginning of the premise was, I'm not racist. I'm just regular.
Right.
Like whatever you are, I'm that too.
Right.
Like I'm not better than you. I don't see things that I say stuff. And I remember one time telling Jesus, I was like, he ordered something. He goes, ooh, I'll have the quesadillas. And I go, hey, don't do that shit. And he goes, what? And I go, with the fucking...
The accent.
Yeah, the accent to the lady. We're at a Mexican restaurant.
Yeah.
Say it the regular way. And he goes, I'm saying it the regular way. You're saying it wrong. And I went, oh yeah.
But it does bug me when we walk into a Latin spot and he starts speaking. It's like, this is like you're in high school and two people start whispering. But
dude.
you're whispering in your loud ass language, and I get it. But
let me tell
come
you
on,
something
man.
I picked up on growing up in Florida. This is me and my buddy Eddie. I won't just say my buddy Eddie. Eddie's Cuban. So whenever two Cubans would meet and would see each other in Florida, and there were white people there, they'd always talk Spanish right in front of you. It was like that's how they did. And you either in Florida, you either picked up on Spanish, so you knew what they were saying about you, or you were just left in the dust. When Eddie moved, and I moved out to LA together, and one day he goes, "You ever notice Mexicans don't in LA proper?" They don't speak Spanish in front of us. And I was like, no. And he goes, I think, this is his theory, and I think it's pretty accurate. When you're Cuban and you step foot in the United States, you're American. You're American citizen. You get your citizenship.
He looks white. He looks like a white Cuban, Eddie.
Eddie does, yeah. Eddie does.
They probably don't even know he's fucking...
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's a badge of honor to speak Spanish in front of other white people. When you're Cuban, it's like, yeah, this is who we are.
Right.
We're Cuban. We're proud of being Cuban. Not saying Mexicans aren't being proud to be a Mexican, but there is always the threat of getting kicked out when you're Mexican.
Right.
So it's like a lot of Eddie was, and our theory was, when you're Mexican, you've got to kind of fucking fall in line and be like, I'm going to learn language. I'm going to assimilate.
Right.
Whereas Cubans, because they don't get their citizenship, there's always the threat of getting kicked out.
Right.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
Here's a problem with this podcast. I talk to comics. I can talk to a comic for fucking hours about. I mean, how long have we been going? What? I can talk to you for hours.
It's a fun conversation, man.
Dude.
Plus, we never really talk. We see each other in the hallways and stuff. Like, we know each other. We're friends. We work together. Work in the same building.
Who's like 5 comics you text daily?
Definitely Jesus. I text some weird comics. Not weird comics, but people you like. I text a lot of people. Jeff Dunham. Yeah. I'm going to his house after this. Yes. But Davey Western, you know Davey Western? He has cerebral palsy, but he's funny as shit.
No, I don't know.
Yeah, he's a comedy store regular.
Oh,
but he goes up like late night.
I bet I do.
Yeah,
I just am not thinking, putting 2 and 2 together.
Yeah, so Davey. Normally I talk to people on the phone. Nicole, Amy. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't talked to people on the phone in forever.
For real?
I only talked to probably one person on the phone, and that's Segura.
Oh, word?
Yeah. I text people. I got a little bit of social anxiety, so I don't like...
Oh, word?
Yeah, like I like keeping... I don't know.
You do? You have social anxiety?
A little bit. Like I overthink texts.
Right.
Like if someone texts me and like I'll overthink how to reply because I come off. What was the? We did this is a perfect example. This is a perfect example. So I had this guy on my podcast, Jordan Harbinger, and he's like a marketing guy. He's got a podcast. Really great go-getter, out of the box thinker in businesses business. And I said, tell me something I'm not doing. What's that?
It's the video of you dying laughing.
Oh, this is.
Text him.
Oh, here. This is this the video? Are they playing the commercial? Okay, skip ad. This is a perfect. Can you play audio to this?
Yeah.
This is why I don't text anybody. Okay, this is why my social anxiety. This one's from James. Who's James? Hey, Bert, it's James from. Hey, this guy sold me my gun.
There you go.
So there.
Hey, man, just thinking about you. Let's see that. Wait, that's not. This is why I don't reply to text. What do I say?
Literally, it's so funny.
What do I say?
Literally, the script should be,
This is fucking just
hey,
thinking about
use their
you.
name, otherwise they think it's a group text. So, hey, James,
Hey, James.
been a long time.
It's been a long time.
What's the latest with you? What's the latest with you?
That doesn't feel right. That doesn't feel right.
Wait,
So what
cut
I do
this
is
out.
if somebody
Cut this
puts in a
out.
big thing, get
Cut
ready to
this
go on a
out.
trip or something else, just that's
I lose my shit here because I realize I'm texting to the guy that sold me the gun. Hey, man, been thinking about you. It's been a year since he's
Yeah.
heard from me.
He's sold thousands of guns.
Yeah, but he knows me
Right.
because he's a fan of my comedy. But I'm just texting him, hey man, been thinking about you. Watch me. Hey buddy.
Stupid.
This is the Please don't reply to
You gotta. You have.
All right.
You have that Porky's laugh.
Oh,
You remember the movie Porky's?
yes, I do.
And they're upstairs having sex and they could hear it downstairs in the gym and the coach lost his shit.
yeah.
And I lost my shit watching him lose his shit, laughing and
Watching
trying not
someone laugh.
is so you have that laugh, but that's a fucking funny comedy too. Like somebody like laughing is funny as fuck, bro.
Dude. I remember there was a roast of Barry Katz and at the Boston.
I heard this, not this story, but I listened to that roast.
I was at that roast and it was brutal.
Yes, man.
And they were making fun of one comic, and he was like, "Ah," I remember. I think it was Jay Moore. I was like, "Hey, let me do an impression of." I won't say the name. Can you cut the mics real quick? And Jay was destroying him.
Damn.
Going like, "Oh, this is how I can tell." You know, you can tell when it's time to laugh at his jokes. It's when he starts laughing. That's when you're supposed to laugh. But it was like, and it was that was a fucking. Louis C.K. went up and just goes, "You owe me money. You owe me money. I'm not gonna." Dude, that
shit.
was a brutal fucking roast.
Damn, man. But this is one thing. If I had a sitcom,
Yeah.
like one thing I really think is weird about sitcoms is when characters say funny things to each other and just keep saying funny things to each other, but never react to it.
Oh, that's so fucking.
And I was like, if I have a sitcom, we're talking shit to each other. You say something funny, the characters are laughing. This is unreal. The TV audience is laughing. You're at home laughing, but the two people that just said had the funny exchange don't even react as if they said anything remotely funny to each other. They just keep talking and going towards the plot.
That's fucking brilliant
Yeah.
because you watch like Jimmy Fallon and all he does is laughs at his own
And I
jokes.
like that about him.
Yeah, I do too. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't, dude, when you'd watch SNL and Jimmy Fallon would break character
Yeah.
or David Spade and Adam Sandler would break character when Chris Farley was doing a thing.
Yeah.
And you're like, why aren't the characters laughing? They're saying hysterical stuff and then just staring at each other like
Blankly.
no one's got a sense of humor.
Yeah, but it's a comedy sketch or a comedy situation, and it's not funny to them.
That's really. I wonder if that would work as a sitcom, of like if the character walks in and says something, or if you looked at all the mechanisms of comedy in that and crafted every joke in a way that if people didn't laugh, it would be because what they said. Like you know what was good at that? Now that I'm thinking about it, is I just saw a clip Best of the Golden Girls.
Oh,
And every joke they made was hurtful to each other. So no one like they would just be a painful like, right, you're a whore, you're stupid as shit, you're tall as fuck and no one wants to love you.
Right.
You're old.
damn, cold-blooded.
That is fucking interesting.
Yeah, I knew you couldn't do it for everything that they said, but find a way for the people in the show to have as much fun as the people watching the show. You know what I mean? And express.
You might have just
some
changed the
type
way
of
I'm
laughter.
looking at sitcom.
Yeah, you're welcome, bro.
I'm being, because I've been watching a couple multicams lately. Like I watched All in the Family, and you know, they were like, save All in the Family, and I watched it, and I just, it wasn't very funny. It was like set up punchline, but it was, for some reason, I was so far removed from it.
Right. Do those jokes still like carry?
No. It was a reboot. They did a reboot of All in the Family.
Was that that wasn't the live one? Because they just did a live Jeffersons one or something.
They did
like
a
that.
live Jeffersons, and it was actually pretty enjoyable.
That's what I heard.
Live Jeffersons and live All in the Family. They're actually, I mean, I'll tell you right now, fucking Marissa Tomei destroyed it.
Oh, for
she
real?
was so good. And that's, you know, you're saying that and I go, no one would laugh at that outrageous character if you lived with that outrageous character.
Right.
Like, and all her jokes are like, I don't get what's going on, Archie. And so that's really funny. And then you look at some sitcoms now, and they're like, this guy's dropping zingers,
Right.
and the room's like, oh, they bombed in this room. I guess they found it funny in the
Right.
studio audience.
Right.
That's really fucking interesting.
It's
That is
pretty odd.
fucking.
Yeah, if I do a sitcom, the characters are gonna be enjoying themselves just as much as everybody else. Like, why not? Or at least say that's funny, but be serious. You know, just react.
What if you did a sitcom where you did the rehearsal with soft jokes, and then gave everyone their real jokes for the tape?
Could do that. Yeah.
Like we go, and then when he walks in, you know, he'll be saying something goofy, like
Right.
you know. So, and the guy walks in, you're just getting your placement down of where you walk in.
Right.
It's like the Drew Carey live shows that they'd improv. The improv ones were so good because
Oh, yeah.
everyone's in the moment.
Right. And they're reacting realistically.
Man, Drew Carey's had a good career.
Strong. Still going.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. I would. Would you tap out right now with on the trajectory you're at and host a game show at 10 o'clock every 10 o'clock in the morning every day for 1 hour? That's kind of a cool game show. People like it, but it's not going to really help your touring technically.
Right.
And if it does, it made a tour from it. But you can still do spots at the store. You do whatever you want, but it's like $10 million a year.
I'm stupid, so no. No, because right now I just want what I want,
Yeah.
and I'd have to get that first and then be satisfied with it. Like Drew, like he had the sitcom or 2 sitcoms,
Yeah.
so he can be like, this at some point after you do sitcoms, like I just need a job to always have money coming.
Yeah,
I'm
'cause you,
cool.
you get used to buying expensive shit.
Yeah, and now he has that, you know.
Yeah.
And that job was like, he took that job from a guy who was 80, who started it when he was 20. So he's like, oh, I'm going to do this job for a long fucking time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Chappelle really changed the mind scope. He's worth $165 million.
Yeah.
The Pierce is
I
right.
feel like he's been ripped off. He should have more.
I can't believe he's still alive. He had a heart attack like 20 years ago.
Oh shit.
And he's still going. Chappelle changed the mold a little bit where he made it like, hey, you can just be a stand-up. You don't have to be a movie star.
Right.
So then what is more important to you, respect or money?
I guess stupidly respect.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I haven't been broke, but I haven't had like money. You know what I mean? But the respect and the love of comics and just people has always felt good.
Yeah.
You know, so I never kind of traded it for anything.
I was empty when I just had money and I wasn't really working as hard as I am now, or definitely as much, or I don't think anyone really thought I remember D'Elia one time, and no disrespect, I'm not trying to throw shade on D'Elia, but D'Elia one time followed me and he came up to me and he goes, dude, you're funny. And by the way, I've been doing it probably 19 years at the time.
Right.
And I was like, yeah. And he was like, I mean, I'm not being shitty, but like, I didn't know you'd be like, I had a hard time following. That was like, you were funny. And I was like, oh, thanks. And so I definitely didn't have respect. I was just doing Travel Channel shit, making good money.
Right.
I remember giving people the worst fucking advice in the world. about like, you know, create a show, sell a show.
Right.
There's a lot of these cable fucking ... You don't always have to. You don't. None of us. All of us are going to be Bill Burr.
Right.
And then I realize, oh, if you don't want to be Bill Burr,
And you won't be.
then you won't be. But if you go, hey, man, I wouldn't mind people going. That's one of the better comics out there.
Right.
But dude, you're one of the best comics out there. Everyone says that.
Thanks.
We
I'll
all
take
know
that.
it, and I'm glad that this special is going to be a popping off point for people to realize it.
Oh yeah. Let's get it, y'all.
Fuck yeah! Is it on Comedy Central?
Comedy Central, July 12th, midnight, which is really July 13th.
Don't tell my wife; she'll never get it right. My wife books doesn't have the concept that if the day you want to leave, if that happens to be after midnight, she still books it for that day,
For the day. Oh,
and then
shit,
blames them, going, "Well, your booking isn't right."
That's
July
hilarious.
12th at midnight.
At midnight. Yeah.
July
12th at midnight, or July 13th at midnight.
6/12.
No.
12.
Yeah.
6/12 at 12.
Damn.
No, but that's good. 12/12 is good
12.
numbers.
Yeah,
Good,
yeah.
it's really
good numbers, y'all. Yeah.
That's great. Fuck yeah, dude. Well, I'm so happy for you.
Thanks for
I'm
having
so
me
glad
on.
we got to hang out
Yeah,
and
for
bullshit,
sure.
man. At anytime. Even if you go like, man, I feel like I haven't been on a lot of podcasts lately. I wouldn't mind doing a podcast
All
and
right.
help selling tickets. Any fucking time,
done.
just text me
Done
and we
deal.
can do this. I could talk to you forever.
All right, thanks, brother. I
Dude,
appreciate
thank you,
that.
man.
Thanks, man.
We're
Thanks
gonna
for
go
putting
to
the
that soccer
dogs-
game. We're gonna go to that soccer
Oh
game.
yeah, let's do that. And thanks for putting the dogs away so they don't eat me. Yeah. Huge ass dogs.